Hi, Tom. So great to see you. Not to be biased, but you're in my own personal Hall of Fame, being a former chairman of SVG. So thank you so much for that. And of course, your many years at Turner Sports, and I know you worked for Don Ho back in the day, which I always love to hear stories about. But today, I think what you wanted to discuss briefly was, obviously when you're on stage at the Hall of Fame, you get a chance to thank a lot of people, which is always great to hear the thank yous, but you never quite get an understanding of the relationships a lot of times, or just sort of how you kind of manage the people that you're thanking. So I think you want to kind of discuss a little bit, kind of your management style, and kind of offer some advice and tips to the crowd. So Tom, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. It certainly is an honor to be here and to be part of this tremendous organization and the Hall of Fame. It's something that I never ever dreamed that I'd be a part of working with Don Ho. Uh, so yeah, I've been fortunate to work with many really talented people. Many of them are in the Hall of Fame as well. And one thing that I did learn um, early in my career, which I was able to later apply, is really and listen to the people around you and really understand what they're going through. Because at the end of the day, they're just trying to do their job. And so the more you can help them do the job and quiet the noise around them, the better. And one story that comes up that really resonates with me was a small event that I was doing in early 2000s over in Utah. This thing called the Winter Olympics. Um, there were a few struggles that we had with the preparations. Um, I was hired to supervise the HD production. That was one of
Well, the
the big
first.
highlights of that Olympics was that we were going to carry the ski jumping in HD. And so I figured, okay, HD is pretty easy. Um, don't have to worry too much about it. I'm working with the NHK team, and they've had years of doing this, so they're really polished on it. They know exactly what they're doing. So I was really looking forward to it. My contract called for me to get there about a week before. I said, okay, if I'm only doing HD, weeks, plenty of time, no worries. I'll be able to ride in. NHK will have everything up and going, and it'll be a dream. Well, I get there. I pull up in the parking lot. I see a couple of trucks parked in the parking lot, no one around, no wires between any of the trucks. It was like a ghost town. So I walk around the compound trying to find, figure out, okay, what's going on? Am I in the right place? I finally find someone and they say, "Oh, everyone's up on the hill." So like, well, what's going on? Why is everyone up there? So I finally meet the tech manager and he tells me, "Oh, great, you're here. You can help us figure this out." So um, so again, we kind of talk about, what's going on and kind of what happened. And he said, well, the in the prep, I guess they were running short of manpower. So they basically hired these electrician companies who ended up just going out and hiring laborers to help them run cables. So all the cabling that supposedly would have been pre-done was just in a total mess. They've been spent a week there and they couldn't make sense of the cables. And so they're trying to work on that. So anyway, I figured, okay, I'll take a look and I go out, I grab a cable, I follow it up, find the marker, follow it up the hill, it goes halfway up the hill, turns around, comes back down, goes across a cable bridge, down the fence line, hanging on the fence with a different label from what was on the other end.
Oh,
And then right there, I just said, "Okay, everyone, just come down, and we've got to figure out how to do this." And that was really striking to me in that how badly something could be done. Um, and much of it was probably because there was no supervision, because they were just given this task, and the laborers were probably just said, "Hey, look, I'm just here to collect the paycheck, so I'll just make like I did the job, collect the paycheck," and they knew they were never coming back. It was a one-time deal.
Right.
So anyway, we meet, um, and figure out that they were able to find a few cables that worked, but for the rest of them, they just couldn't make any sense. So you know, we thought about, okay, what would it take to pull all the cables down and then restring them? Well, opening ceremonies was like in 6 days. So there was not enough time to do that. So fortunately, I knew some people over at the field shop, and I called up, and Chris Brown happened to be my representative from M&T,
Right.
and they were the facility provider. So I called Chris. I said, "Chris, you got to help me out. I need to figure out how to cable this hill." And so together, we managed to get enough cable together and cable the hill. And we had a lot of discussions about how to do it was the right way. And really, at the end of the day, um, I had to, I really listened to the crew, and together we discussed all the different scenarios because everyone had a different idea of how to do it. So we really got everybody together and sat and discussed it and figured out what was the best way to go about it. And they all looked at me like I had the answer. They said, "Look, you're the ones out there. You have to tell me what you think is the best way we can get this done." Because there were some areas of the hill that were really steep, and
Yeah.
this is winter, so it's got snow, and so some of it's inaccessible. So it's like, okay, well, we really have to figure this out. You can't fail. So again, that really forced me to, take the approach of having to totally trust the crew, because again, they're the ones out there. They're the ones that are, risking their reputation as well. So that was certainly, a big part of the success was them getting together, discussing amongst them, and then really coming up with a plan of how to go about it. And so we got the cabling done and squared away. Um, we're going through the games. The games start. Um, Everything's going fine. We get to the bronze medal run of the the women's bobsled, two-man bobsled, two women bobsled. Um, Previous to that, we had I think it was a final preliminary round of the skeleton. So in that preliminary round of the skeleton, we started getting hits on the switcher. At the end of the run, the switcher just dies.
Oof.
Now we have half an hour before the bronze medal run of the women's two-person bobsled.
Right.
So we're sitting there with the engineers, and we're trying to figure out, okay, switcher's dead. We had to switch the last run of the um, on the uh, on the routing switcher, because the switcher was just unusable at that point.
And those
So we
events,
had this half
those,
an hour.
those events are very slow, and so you can switch them easy on a router. It's just right. I mean, cameras and trying to follow down the
I think with POVs we had like 34 cameras.
right.
So the TD literally was just running down finger after finger, because some of those cuts are like a half second,
Right. Right.
right? So he's just making sure he doesn't punch the wrong button.
Right. But not a long-term
Yeah.
sleep.
Oh no, definitely. So we got through those final preliminary runs on the routing switcher. We just figured, okay, the bronze medal, we got graphics, we have to get this right. And all the I had all the truck engineers all together and we're thinking, okay, like what can we do? So they're all working as fast as they can, trying to figure out how to fix a switcher. And one of the production guys comes over and says, "Well, let's just move everything into the other truck." Okay, it took us a week to set everything up. There's no way you're going to move everything in a half an hour,
Right.
right? So everyone just said, "Look, get out of here." But what he said was really interesting because thought, okay, we do have a full truck on the other city, not 20 feet away. What can we do? So again, pull one of the video guys and one of the engineers and said, okay, is there any way we can use that switcher in the other truck? And so we figured, okay, we can take the output of our camera router, we can take the output of our replay router, send it over to that truck. We can take our graphics, send it over to that truck. So now that's 4 sources, so it's not impossible. We could get that done. And we can put another TD in there and put a biscuit box next to him so he can basically follow along and switch it. So we had the full production in the truck with the disabled switcher. The truck next door had a TD, basically switching 4 buttons and doing the replay wipe out of the other truck. And we managed to pieces together within that half an hour, and we were ready to go for the start of the bobsled bronze medal run. And it all because was, you know, just what seemed like this ridiculous suggestion of, well, let's just move into the other truck.
Right.
And so, yeah, again, that was really what solidified. You really have to think about some suggestions because they sound ridiculous, but the the bottom line is, sometimes we get too much into this tunnel vision of we think we know what the right solution is, and hearing another point of view just opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So that was, what really got me to, keep a close contact with the crews and the teams because they're the ones that really are under the gun. That they're the ones that have to do it. They're the ones with their name attached to it. I'm just a supervisor. I don't run the camera. I don't run the audio. I don't run the replays of the graphics. So yeah, that's again what really made me appreciate everything that they do, and why I've always stayed really close with them because, like I said, just to have their knowledge and expertise and be able to bounce ideas off of them and listen to their point of view really helped me achieve the successes that we've had across my career. So yeah, that's I really thank all of the crew members that I've had through all the years because I've learned a lot from them and they've taught me a lot about how to listen and how to manage them.
Awesome. Well, I can know that I've heard from them all, and I know that they feel the same way about you. I like to always say that I've only seen you get upset once. It was at the NBA All-Star game in Dallas. It was the one time when I walked up to you and you're like not in a happy mood, and I was like, okay, if Tom's not in a happy mood, that means something's going on. I believe there's a misplaced fiber of some sort, but it was great.
Yeah, that one. Yes.
Yes, but that was, because you are so patient
And that I must say was none of our crew.
right, right,
It was someone else who came in and made a mistake, and rather than just admit that he made the mistake, he tried to fix it and
made it
and
worse.
made it worse. Yeah.
Right, right. Which is why you should always check in with your supervisor. at all times.
Or if you make a mistake, just own up to it.
Right, exactly. Awesome. Well, thanks, Tom. So great to see you. We will see you next year in person sometime, but definitely next December.
Looking forward to it.